Welcome back to the best anime recap channel on YouTube. Today I am going to explain an action comedy called Spy X Family. In a time when countries of the world are waging war against each other, using information, the best spy from Westalis, Loid Forger, also known as Twilight, gets his most important mission yet. He must get close to the leader of the National Unity Party in Ostania, Donovan Desmond, because he is a threat to the truce between the two nations. The only two issues with this plan are the fact that Desmond is an extremely cautious man who only attends gatherings held at his son's private school, and the school's admission test is coming up in 7 days. This means Loid has to adopt and prepare a child in this short amount of time. In the orphanage, he meets Anya, a cute girl who has the ability to read minds. Anya shows her intelligence by filling in a crossword puzzle with the answer she read from Loid's mind. Impressed by this, he decides to adopt Anya. Loid and Anya decide to go buy some groceries. But Anya starts acting weird, and because Loid cannot understand Anya's actions, he just thinks she is stupid. While Loid is finalizing his plans to train Anya, she starts to cry, so Loid makes her feel better by offering her peanuts, which are her favorite food. On their way back home, Loid borrows a lot of books to help him understand children. The next day, after playing hide and seek with Anya, Loid traps her inside his room with a barricade on the door. He then leaves to meet with their informer Frankie, who hands him a folder with all the information he was able to gather about Anya. They learn that Anya has no date of birth, but she has been adopted and returned 4 times. Back in Loid's room, Anya gets bored and decides to play with some of Loid's gadgets. She accidentally sends a message which is picked up by an enemy of Loid. After playing, she quickly puts everything away because she does not want Loid to know she can use his equipment. Anya recalls when she was younger, she was owned by an organization that would force her to study and experiment on her. This is one of the reasons that Anya does not like to study. When Loid gets home, he notices the position of some of his items are different. Because of this, he immediately counters the ambush that was planned and runs to check on Anya, but realizes she has already been kidnapped. After some thinking, he finally decides to save her. Loid disguises himself as one of the people who kidnapped Anya and forces himself into their base. Once inside, he grabs Anya and runs. As she cries on his shoulder, he remembers his childhood and his own tears when war destroyed his hometown. He realizes he does not want kids to be part of the spy world, so he forces Anya to go and runs back to the enemy base to eliminate them. After eliminating all of them, he finds Anya playing by a corner. She begs him to keep her, and he finally agrees. They become closer, and Anya decides she will study with Loid. Because of this, she is able to pass the admission exam. When they receive the admission letter, they are told there are 2 parts to the exam, and the second part is a family interview with both the mom and dad. This means Loid and Anya need to find someone who will be their mom. We now meet Yor Briar, who works at Berlin City Hall. She is a single woman in her late 20s, and women of that age are often suspected to be spies if they do not have families. Yor's coworker invites her to a party, and she reluctantly agrees, knowing she does not have someone to go with her. With this fear and the negative comments from her friends, Yor decides she needs to have someone she can call her boyfriend. At a tailor shop, Anya reads Yor's mind and realizes she would be a perfect fit for Loid. Anya starts loudly complaining about how she does not have a mom, which pushes Loid and Yor to interact with each other. After talking, they agree to form a partnership to help each other. Loid would attend Yor's party, and Yor would pretend to be Anya's mother. However, on the night Loid was supposed to attend Yor's party, a side mission causes him to arrive late. He arrives covered in blood, but everyone is more focused on how hot he is. Because he was still distracted by his side mission, he accidentally introduces himself as Yor's husband. As they leave the party, some bad guys from his last mission catch up with him. They manage to get away without being harmed. Later on, as they are talking, Yor realizes how beneficial their partnership is for her job as an assassin and asks if they could continue pretending to be married, agrees, and uses a grenade pin as a ring while pledging their vows. Since they are now legally married, Yor moves in with Loid and Anya. One day, Loid decides to host a mock interview to prepare for the admissions interview. Both Anya and Yor fail the interview, so Loid organizes a family outing to specific places in order to help them get a better idea of what upper-class family life is like. They go to an opera, but Anya cannot stay awake. They go to an art exhibit, but Anya and Yor have very questionable taste in art. They finally go to an ice restaurant, but Anya eats with her hands while Yor keeps playing with her knife. Loid becomes distressed and partially loses faith in the mission, so he takes the family to a park to relax. There, they witness a thief robbing an old woman. After Loid, with help from Yor and Anya, are able to stop him, the old woman observes that they make a wonderful family. That night, Loid conducts another mock interview, and they do much better. He regains hope and reassures himself that if they could make the old woman think they are family, then the mission still has a chance. As the family arrives at Eden Academy for the interview, they manage to impress the schoolhouse master Henry Henderson with their many accomplishments, including saving a boy stuck in a gutter, stopping an accidental stampede from the school's farm animals, and bringing an extra change of clothes for emergencies. During the interview with the house masters, they give satisfactory answers, but one of the instructors, Murdoch Swan, deliberately tries to taunt and fail them. He even asks about Anya's real mother, which forces Loid to lose his temper and punch the table in front of him. They'll leave the room, and Loid tells the headmaster they will pick a different school because they don't want Anya attending a school that does not care about their students' feelings. After the family leaves, Henderson punches Swan in defense of Loid and his family. At home, Loid is certain that they have failed the interview, but agrees to leave the rest to luck. When decision day comes, they are mortified to realize that Anya did not get accepted into the school. They do, however, learn that she is first on the waiting list, thanks to Henderson's intervention. This means they just need to get one student to decline their position, and Anya will be accepted into the school. At first, Yor considers taking things into her own hands, but decides to give up that thought and just wait for things to happen naturally. After a few days, they learn that Anya had been accepted into Eden Academy. While celebrating Anya's acceptance with Frankie, a drunken Frankie spurs Anya into requesting Loid to reenact a rescue scene from her favorite cartoon, Spy Wars, as a reward. To satisfy her demands, Loid uses their agency, Westalian Intelligence's resources, to rent a castle and get actors for their play. After passing through all obstacles and having a fight with the drunken Yor, Loid rescues Anya, with Anya promising to do her best at school for Loid's sake. Westalian Intelligence's second phase of their plan, which they call Strix, involves making Anya an Imperial Scholar. An Imperial Scholar is a student who earns 8 merits known as Stellar Stars. With this title, Anya and Loid would be able to infiltrate the school's gathering and reach Donovan. On the other hand, if Anya earns 8 Tonitrus bolts, she will be kicked out of Eden Academy. Anya and Yor go out for shopping, and while shopping, Anya is kidnapped by thugs. Thankfully, Yor is able to catch up with them and save Anya before anything bad happens. Yor feels really bad and decides to teach Anya self-defense. Anya quickly picks up what Yor teaches her, and she feels much stronger. On the orientation day, Loid secretly arranges for Anya to be in the same class as Donovan Desmond, who is Donovan's son. Loid thinks if he can get Anya to be friends with Damien, then Damien might invite them over to his house, which would get him closer to his real target, Donovan. This does not work, however, because Damien constantly bullies Anya, which leads to her punching him. This earns Anya a Tonitrus bolt and sours her relationship with Damien, spoiling both of Loid's plans. Loid tries to convince Anya to apologize to Damien, but her new friend, Becky Blackbell, discourages her. Anya finally decides to apologize to him, but Damien realizes he's started to develop feelings for her and rejects her apology out of embarrassment. Believing his second plan to have failed, Loid urges Anya to study and follow the organization's original plan of her being the best student and an Imperial Scholar, but this overwhelms Anya. Yor helps Loid realize he has been pressuring Anya too much, and when he goes to check on her, he notices that she had fallen asleep while studying. As Loid questions how it feels to have a family, Yor's brother, Yor Briar learns that his sister has gotten married. In the evening of the next day, Yor, who secretly works for the Ostanian State Security Service, also known as the SSS, visits Yor. Yor is heavily attached to his sister Yor and finds it hard to accept her marriage. He then barrages Loid with questions about their marriage in the hope of catching him off guard and proving their marriage is fake. While Yor asks him questions, Loid realizes he is using conversation templates only used by the SSS and realizes that Yor is a spy. A drunk Yor then asks that Loid and Yor kiss in front of him or else he will report their marriage to the local government. Yor finally has enough and slaps her brother. Ultimately, Yor refuses to accept the marriage, but still recognizes that Loid is a good person. Loid begins to suspect Yor of having connections with the SSS, while Yor is insecure about her incompetence as a wife. The next day, Loid follows Yor and disguises himself and Frankie as SSS officers to extract information from her. But she conclusively clears their doubt. Loid later meets Yor on the way home and advises her to stay true to herself and not worry too much about her role as a wife. A relieved Yor then expresses her happiness and appreciation for being Loid's partner. Damien and Anya hear a rumor about a Stellar Star being given to the most valuable player in the upcoming dodgeball tournament. On the day of the tournament, Anya and Damien's class face the athletically gifted Bill Watkins, who eliminates everyone except for them, throwing away his chance to get the star and be acknowledged by his father. Damien sacrifices himself to protect Anya. As the last standing player, Anya uses her training from Yor to make the last throw but fails, losing the game. In the end, the rumor turns out to be false, while Anya and Damien get closer. Loid takes Anya to volunteer at a hospital, hoping to earn Stellar Stars through community service. However, her poor performance angers everyone and they get dismissed. By chance, Anya detects a drowning person's thoughts and rushes to save him. Ultimately, this earned her the first Stellar Star. The end. To watch more explanations of these kinds of shows and movies, click on the videos on your screen. And do not forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. Kindly like the video and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos. And at last, I will say, stay safe, stay well. Thanks for watching.